He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to invite Cal to come on into the conversation for a second. Hey, we're going to have Senator Joel Carter joining us shortly. Joel is actually in the midst of fighting COVID-19 as we speak, and he's going to share his experience so far, and we'll come back to that in just a second. So look forward to having that conversation with Joel. Cal, it's been a hell of a week, hasn't it? We've had some great guests this week. Angela Geist-Tierson, man, what an inspiration she is.
Yeah, to start out from here, kind of on a last whim, I'm going to spend the last few dollars. I'm going to make it one last chance, go out at least to do this premiere that turns into a great career and a great move in the end to really propel herself into a fantastic career.
And such a great example. I mean, whether you're a man or a woman, she's a great example for taking risk. I love the whole, I've said this early in my life because, there was a time in my life when I was eating bologna sandwiches, and my mom one day said, I'm going to get you some groceries. And I said, no, Mom, it's important for me to eat these bologna sandwiches. But this whole notion of dogged determination, I mean, I'm going to California. I don't have a job. I know what I want to do when I get there, and just making it work. What an inspiration she is to anyone, especially women. We had Keith Crosby. I've been waiting to talk to him because, as I mentioned in the conversation with Keith, who is the general manager at the Palace in Biloxi, that he's really stood the test of time in the casino industry and has gone through so many challenging times. He's got a great owner. They work together well, and they've done some really cool things there. But, Keith's an inspiration, isn't he?
He is. That was a really good story about how he were able to just really pick up and do what they wanted to do right after Katrina. They didn't have a whole lot of red tape in their way. They left hope for all of their employees who really probably the day after Katrina go, wow, I don't have a job. I don't know where my next paycheck's coming from. And then everybody just pulled together and rebuilt it.
Yeah, it is cool the way he did that. And I love it in this pandemic situation, the way they said, okay, we're gonna look at the guidelines. We're not gonna go maybe the route that some others are taking. We're going to completely reconfigure, for example, the slot machines and the way they are done. But just real innovation. And then Ben Brown, the what I call the Renaissance urban planner. We talked about the BP money. Stan Stark, man, soon to be 81 years old. I mean, coming down the Mississippi River.
Yep. That's
amazing.
That's an incredible, inspiring story there.
And that video, you can tell by the views, it's touched a nerve. People are really paying attention to it. But anyway, you can go see those conversations at the SuperTalk Gulf Coast page. And I think, you'll be glad you did if you missed those. I wanted to tell you too that, Cal, if you go look at a search on legislators who have gotten COVID, what you'll find is there actually hasn't been a story written since late July, and over 30, including the speaker and the lieutenant governor. It's a real testament, as we discussed with Joel the last time we had him on, that if you drop your guard for a minute, you could be in trouble. And it's important that we continue to send that message. Don't drop your guard, isn't it?
It is. And, the sad thing is we all know, what we have to do. Distance, mask, wash your hands. Granted, there's going to be times where people, you're going to let your guard down. You think, oh, I'm safe, and you just touch something, then you forget to wash your hands. But, that's going to happen. But for them, if everyone else would just start doing that, then we could, really have football, good stuff that we want to have.
Yeah. Joel's going to be joining us here shortly, but I think the message he's got is very clear. And I should also point out, I had Representative Manley Barton from Jackson County. I talked to him this week. He was in ICU. He was in hospital for an extended period of time. He was extremely sick, and he's home now. It's a slow recovery, but he's going to come on and visit with us and share his experience. It's just, one more, I think, compelling reason why we have to take this seriously. So, anyway, let's bring Joel into the conversation now. And good morning, Joel. How are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, buddy.
So let's listen. When we talked last, you talked about how you were lucky that you made it through that long session when over 30 legislators, including the speaker and the lieutenant governor, got COVID, that you didn't get it. And that you mentioned on the show that you had face masks everywhere now, and you were really paying attention. Well, that's true. You really were. But you dropped your guard one time. You know exactly when that was. Tell us about it.
So I was in Jackson doing some follow-up for the session, and went to a dinner one night, and we wore our mask in the Uber ride over there, had hand sanitizer on, everything. But it ended up 7 of us, somebody at the table was infected, and 7 of us caught it that night. It took about a week for me to start showing symptoms. And I just, yesterday was a week that I had my first symptom. This stuff is terrible. I mean, it's absolutely terrible. It's been hell for 7 days straight. Just now starting to get some relief now.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you've gone through that. Listen, I want to talk more about your experience. Has anyone in your family been infected as a result of your getting that?
My wife has got it. I got a pretty extreme case of it. She's been mostly asymptomatic. She's got a little congestion. I mean, she's younger. She's in better shape than me. You know, one thing that I've learned through this is I need to start taking better care of myself. Had I taken better care of myself, I don't think it would have been as severe as it's been. So it's been kind of a wake up call for me as well. So there have been some positives that have come out of it, but man, it's bad stuff. It really is. And I didn't take it serious until I'm laying in the bed, can't breathe and can't sleep because the body aches are so bad. It feels like you're pressed in between 2 cars and they're hitting the gas on both sides. It's horrible.
So the thing about it, thank God you're feeling better. The thing about it is that the progression is like that. It continues to, the effect on your lungs, and then it. You had to worry. I'm sure you did worry all along that am I going to take a turn for the worse? And I'm sure you thought that. How much did that run through your head?
Well, the first day I had symptoms, it was kind of mild for the next 2 days, and then all of a sudden it just hit me, and it started getting worse every night. I was very scared, and very, very scared. But I just did what the doctor told me to do. Took my medicine, tried to stay laid down, and then walk around when I could, get the blood flowing. But it's been rough.
So what medications have they put you on?
So they put me on hydrochloroquine. It's the Plaquenil is the brand name. They put me on a steroid and antibiotic as well. Then I had an inhaler for when I had shortness of breath. But the hydrochloroquine, I know, has been very controversial. But I didn't it didn't go straight into my chest like it did everyone else. The body aches and the fever and the body chills. That was what was the worst part for me. I mean, you can't sleep. You're just laying there in agony. I mean, my wife said I just moan all night long. So it's bad. It really is. I mean, and I'm a pretty tough guy. So
yeah. So you didn't get around your Rick and Stephanie, and thank God. That's the first thing you think about, because it's such a contagious virus. I'm sure you're running through your head, hey man, I'm sick, but man, I just don't want to give it to anybody else. So 8 of you sitting around the table that night, 7 of you guys got it.
Yeah. So
it's conversations like that, in close proximity. That's how you spread it.
Well, it could have been just something simple as passing the appetizer tray around. You could have picked it up off of that. I mean, this stuff is so contagious, and there's no way to find out how you catch it.
So your message is probably very clear: wear a mask, practice social distancing, wash your hands, don't touch your face, protect the vulnerable, and don't drop your guard. Is that
you wear a mask for other people. I mean, wearing a mask, if you're contagious or if you have it, if you could be asymptomatic and not even know you have it. But if you're not wearing a mask, you're spreading it. And I'm just saying from experience how horrible this stuff is. I mean, show some compassion. Put a mask on. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
You could save someone's life.
It's I hate to say this, and I don't want to poke on anyone, but it's selfish not to wear a mask when you're around other people, because you're again, such a high percentage of those who have this virus don't know they have it. That's the thing that's so scary about it. And it spreads so rapidly. You could give it to someone who doesn't know they have it, who gives it to someone, and it's just someone who's trying to protect someone who's vulnerable in their family, and suddenly they've got it now. And they could die, or like Manly end up in ICU and not know if you're going to live or not. It's a tough situation. I'm sure that there were moments in your experience where you wondered, am I going to end up in the hospital now because of this?
It's hard to. You're in so much pain. I could see it being easy to go up, to be honest with you. I mean, it's rough.
But Joel, listen, we're out of time. I told you that I wasn't going to keep you because I know you're not feeling well, but God bless you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience and sending your message to our listeners and our viewers. Hope you get better soon, buddy.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you very much. We have Roxy Condry coming on next. We'll see you after the break.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90, Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fl.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors. Hear the show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to frequently touch surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. That was a terrific conversation with Joel Carter. I'm so sorry that he ended up with COVID-19. But he talks about, I mean, he did everything you're supposed to do and went to one dinner with 7 other people. One of the people at the table had it, and every other person got it. You know, he said it could have been as easy as passing the appetizer plate around. And he has not had to go to the hospital, but he's had a really rough experience, and we wish him well. And if you want to hear that message, you can, and you didn't see it or hear it, you can go to the SuperTalk Gulf Coast Facebook page and watch it. So now we're going to turn the page and move over to Ocean Springs and bring Roxy Condry into the conversation. Roxy, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing well. Thank you.
You and your husband, Ted, own Rain Residential, and you've done some cool stuff. You have 250 rental properties that you manage. You're partners in the Roost. What a special boutique hotel that is. I mean, for people who have had a chance to see that, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Roost. You got a new concept, the Beatnik Hotel, which is really awesome, and I can't wait to share that. And you also had the Inn in Ocean Springs, and you're involved in some other stuff as well. But what I want to do is I want to take this as an opportunity to share with our audience the kind of people in your husband Ted and yourself that it takes to build a great community. I had Ben Brown on this week. Ben Brown is literally a Renaissance man. He's an urban planner. He's written numerous books. He's worked for Coastal Living Magazine and Southern Living Magazine, USA Today. He's one of the most well-read, great thinkers that I know. But we had a conversation about the BP money. There's like $400 million left of the BP money, and the point that we were making was that in this first round of BP money, they didn't of the 26 projects they funded, only 8 of them were actually recommended by the local advisory committee. So, this is a chance to sort of recalibrate and focus on how can we find projects that are being done by people like you guys and find a way to make them more viable, to maybe supplement some of the construction costs so that the investment is closer to getting done, as opposed to maybe if you don't have something like BP money to help move these projects along, that maybe they wouldn't happen. So Ben and I talked about it. What Ben's claim to fame, though, is he worked with Andreas Dwani, the famed architect and planner, who is the father of the founder of the Congress of New Urbanism. And for people who don't know what that's all about, it's about they really believe in creating mixed-use communities, walkable communities. And their designs are famous. So you knew about Andreas, I guess, huh?
Yes. I started my real estate career in Florida, right there on the Emerald Coast, and he did Rosemary Beach and some projects down there. And so I got introduced to his work there, and he's incredible. And so when he came over, and I think he did some work in Gulfport. Is that?
What he did is actually we turned to him. The Governor's Commission on Recovery, Rebuilding, and Renewal after Hurricane Katrina invited him in, and he brought 100 architects and planners, including the Prince of Wales Foundation, to the coast, where we did 12 simultaneous charrettes of each of the communities, so that they could. There were 2 reasons for it. One is we wanted to understand infrastructure needs and how new FEMA maps are going to affect the communities and all of that. And we also wanted to do some dreaming to show that the communities could think big and dream big and do some amazing things. But I got a chance to work with them really closely. And, at the Sun Herald, when I was publisher, we wrote lots of editorials just trying to keep the bar high. Andreas was just so impressed with this community. And it was amazing. One of the things, one of the big criticisms of him when he came here was that anything that Andreas is involved with, the cost goes up. So it makes it so people can't afford it. I was like, wait a minute, let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that Andreas creates value in the community, and that's a bad thing?
Like how you put it.
Yeah, so interesting, but when you think of coastal Mississippi being this collection of communities, I mean, we have a lot of shared things like infrastructure. We share COVID. We can on the things we share, we can attack them together. But what makes this such a special place is that each community has its own his own history, its own culture. It has its own offerings. That's what makes this such a great place. I mean, this collection of communities that make this place so special. that in Ocean Springs, for example, what a cool place. I mean, what do you think of when you think of Ocean Springs?
Well, we moved about 12 to 13 years ago to the coast, and I am from Louisiana, had been here, but I guess was too young to appreciate it. And we looked at every one of the communities along the coast, and we're really drawn to Ocean Springs for numerous reasons. But the landscape and the art, I would say, are the ones that sealed the deal. I can just vividly remember driving into Ocean Springs on Washington Avenue and the canopy of oaks that dead end into the beach. I was really blown away. And I was by myself, and I called my husband and told him, this is it. I think I found it. This is where I want to be. And it just kept getting better because it seems to draw in with the artistic vibe that Ocean Springs has, the people that it draws, creates. You were talking about the creativity that Andres Giuliani is able to bring, and having an opportunity to work with creative people, I think, has allowed us to really be more successful. And those people are here. And I have such a fantastic creative team that we all work together as we're coming up with the brands for the hotels and coming up with the design and working through our real estate marketing efforts. And so for me, Ocean Springs, the art really draws in that creative spirit that makes it special to me. And then the landscape, you just can't beat it. I mean, I love being by the water. I love having the oak trees. I love just the natural feel and landscape here. It really, it works for me. And I really appreciate it.
You can't help but think of the way that Walter Anderson sort of captured the essence of place and connected art and community. And I mean, what a great example, for us all to be inspired by.
Totally agree. I mean, having, this opportunity to live in the community that his museum is here and get to know his family. They are all so unique and eccentric and very different in their own ways. And what they bring to the community has truly made it what it is. And I'm thankful for that, because it is. I mean, he really put the nature into art and made people realize it in a different way. And, the name of their store was, the power of art, how it can make you realize nature and how special it can be. So it's nice to have all of that right here at our fingertips. And being in the hotel industry, we are working to help people have experiences. And it's amazing to have that right here where people can start experiencing these things here in Ocean Springs.
I've had the honor and the pleasure of having Julian Rankin on a couple of times. Julian, for people who may have missed those conversations, is the executive director for the Walter Anderson Museum in Ocean Springs. But man, Julian has this incredible ability to connect art to community, to be able to, communicate the connection between art and the community in so many ways. He was literally the perfect guy for this job in Ocean Springs for the Walter Anderson Museum, because his outreach and I just love to hear him talk about it, because his understanding of landscapes and how they define us, and then the ability to capture that through art, and Walter Anderson's role in doing that. Man, Julian's a gifted young man, isn't he?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I've gotten to know him now that he's working at the Walter Anderson Museum, and he's fantastic. We have a brainstorming meeting on Wednesdays. We've had him come before, and just having his input on things. It's a great perspective for us. And like I said, it's just this community of creative people that I'm thankful that we all can put our heads together and think through ideas and think of things outside of the box, and not have the limitations that sometimes you put on yourself, like just being able to be creative. And he's really doing a wonderful job with Walter Anderson Museum. They have so many exciting new things coming up. He knows the art scene so well. We have a development part of the Beatnik that I think we'll get into later, is part of we have purchased property around there, and it'll be the Collective. And we're in the process of kind of thinking through some ideas for that project. And he was able to turn us on to some artists, because we're doing some murals already that are going to go in the garden section of it. And he's got his finger on the pulse there. And so it's been really nice to have that, lifeline, just to pick up the phone, call Julia, and immediately he can tell you, call this person. They'll do they know, they'll understand what you're trying to accomplish. And so he's been great.
What a creative gift to have at the table. Hey, we're coming to the end of this segment, but you went to the university, you went to Louisiana State University. You got a degree in marketing and psychology. But what's interesting to me is that you had this opportunity to sort of travel the world. And what I really like about people like you is that when you bring sort of that worldly perspective, you've had the opportunity to see architecture and cultures around the world. It really does influence how you see things. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And then we're going to take each of your projects and talk about how you decided to do them and what makes them so special. And we'll get into all that. So anyway, this is Roxy Condry, and we'll be back after this break.
Subscribe for free to the Coast View podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be sure to go by this station's website and check out the half-off deals. Audubon Zoo tickets for just $15. That's half price. $30 zoo tickets for just $15. Again, go to this station's website or Facebook. Look for the half-off deals logo to purchase yours now.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and all this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
This is House Call for Health. There may be no greater medical mystery and no greater tragedy than sudden infant death syndrome. It used to be known as crib death. For no apparent reason, a presumably healthy sleeping baby dies. Medical experts don't have clear-cut answers to what causes sudden infant death, or SIDS, but now they have 2 risk factors: smoking and drinking during pregnancy beyond the first 3 months. A new study finds that babies whose mothers drank alcohol and smoked tobacco after the first trimester are at far greater risk of SIDS, 12 times greater. Previous studies showed a risk of smoking and drinking individually. This study says doing both drastically increases the danger. The research is sponsored by the National Institutes of Health, which is calling for greater publicity about the danger and improved screening at the very beginning of a pregnancy. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to touch frequently touched surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Whether you're a Rebel, a Bulldog, a Golden Eagle, or just a sports fan, SuperTalk Mississippi has got a podcast for you. For you. Sports Talk Mississippi, The Rebel Report, Thunder and Lightning, The SuperTalk Eagle Hour, and The Borky Show are all now available for you. And it's all free. Get them all on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for SuperTalk on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Hey, want to come work for the #1 radio group on the coast? TeleSouth Media has a great opportunity for an outside sales consultant. Get paid while having fun and work in the exciting, fast-paced world of radio. We have award-winning stations like 97.9 CPR Rocks, 105.9 The Monkey, G96.7, SuperTalk 103.1, and 103.5 The Possum. Take the first step towards a new and rewarding career. Submit your resume to Jesse at telesouth.com. That's JESSE at telesouth.com. TeleSouth Media is an equal employment opportunity employer.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We're visiting with Roxy Condry, and I'm enjoying the conversation, Roxy, because one of the things that I always say. Let's take, for example, the nonprofit community, as in sort of the old George Bush comment that it takes 1,000 points of light to help fill gaps and bring a community, meet the needs in the community from a nonprofit point of view. And we're so lucky in coastal Mississippi to have 1,000 points of light here, people working in so many different ways to make for a better community. I feel the same way about people who build things, who bring value to the community, that we're lucky in coastal Mississippi to have 1,000 points of light there. We can always use more of them, but these are the people who are taking risks. These are the entrepreneurs that are trying new concepts, that are really going into a community like Ocean Springs, for example, when you built the Inn Hotel, trying to build something that's going to bring value to the community. And, we want to support you. We want to help you in every way we possibly can, because you're people like you are the reasons why people come here to live and come here to visit. One of the things that's, as I mentioned before we went to the break, is that you had, you got your degree from LSU, but you've had the opportunity to visit around the world. How has those travels influenced you?
Quite a bit. I really am thankful that I had that opportunity. During college, I was able to it was a trip around the world, and went to several countries that I probably not otherwise would have gone to, like India, Korea, South Africa, different places. And it gives you a lot of perspective. From a surface level, the architecture is incredible. You get to see a lot of different things. But I would say even more so impactful was just the cultures, and able to experience how different people live. And, we're really lucky here on the coast. Being in a progressive community, it puts a lot of things in perspective, and a lot of things that I still remember today. Traveling to India was very emotional, because it is so, there's a lot of things that you see that are very sad. And so I've carried all that with me, and I'm very thankful for where I live, and I'm thankful that I was able to experience all those things and meet all the cultures. And I was very welcomed where we went, and I was surprised because I didn't know, going into different countries, sometimes you wonder if they're going to like Americans, and we just had such a positive experience. I was able to do a tea ceremony with some women in Korea that just asked us to come in their home off the streets, and just really amazing experiences that have I cherish and am thankful for, and got to see, really good people being very very positive in wanting us to see their cultures and be able to experience what was important to them. And so those are special things that I have and were able to take advantage of when I was traveling abroad.
I talk about this a lot on the show about we live in paradise here in coastal Mississippi. I mean, I'm not paid to say it. I believe it in my heart of heart. I've had so many opportunities in my career to leave, but I just was always, I traveled a lot, but I never was willing to permanently leave coastal Mississippi because I love this place so much. And Angela Geist-Tierson, Reed Geist's daughter, who went to Hollywood and has done incredible work. I had her on. She actually was on the show yesterday. And the work that she has done is incredible. But she talks about this coastal Mississippi DNA, this thing in her that she brought to Hollywood with her,
yes,
that helped her be successful. The ability to develop relationships with people and the power of people and relationships, that can't be understated. That's a very special quality we bring to the table, isn't it?
I absolutely agree. I'm happy we found the coast because, we were in Louisiana, we weren't far away, but I didn't understand the essence of what it was. And now being here as long as we have, I'm like you. I feel I don't want to go anywhere. I love having this as my home. And we put down roots, obviously. We start our businesses here. We have, 2 children that are in school here. And I'm thankful because, yes, I feel like I have so many, we're close, when it wasn't COVID, we would go to New Orleans and, take advantage of all of the things that New Orleans has to offer. We've got, baseball right over in Biloxi. We've got the aquarium that's soon to be opening. You've got all the coastal towns that have their unique vibe. And it's just really neat because it's still a small town. And I grew up in a small town. I'm from the South. And I really like that. That feels good. But also having all of the other, access to things it's really special place. I agree.
So let's take your hotel journey real quick, and we don't have time to go into a lot of detail about it. But when you decided to do the Inn, like 10 years ago, is that right?
We hit 10 years anniversary last year, so that was
wow, that's incredible. Did you ever think you were going to be in the hotel business? Tell me about the Inn.
I wasn't really planning on it. I first started our real estate company with my husband, and when we were moving to Ocean Springs, really were drawn to the area and were surprised there wasn't a place to stay right there on Washington Avenue in the center of downtown, like historic district. And so we had this idea. My mom had been in the bed and breakfast industry, and so I was like, people need to be able to stay and experience this. This is, people need to see this. And so that's where it really all started. And my real estate clients, I figured, could stay there while they were, deciding if they were going to relocate. And it was something that I figured would be just a small venture inside of our real estate company. 2-room bed and breakfast, not a big thing. But that obviously changed. We love the hotel industry. It's really, really special to be able to create an experience for people. And I think that's what's really made me just want to continue to do more hotels because, having that opportunity to create a brand and create something that will allow people to experience the coast is something I feel thankful that I'm able to do. And so we've now got the Roost and the Beatnik and that kind of thing.
So the Roost is a boutique hotel. And Architectural Digest, incidentally, Architectural Digest was owned by the company that I used to work for. Mm-hmm. And it was proclaimed the most beautifully designed hotel in the state. I've been there many times. Joe Cloyd, one of your partners, is a really close friend of mine. And I think the world of Joe. Got to know him well during the recovery effort after Katrina. But man, what a special place that is. To go in and have a glass of wine or a lunch it turned out probably better than y'all ever imagined.
Thank you for saying that. And it did. That was another example. We were trying to tell a story with the Roost, and that is a historic building from 1894 that needed new life. It needed to be revived.
That's an understatement.
It was definitely in bad shape. And it's got gorgeous 300-year-old oaks that are right there at the front. And so we had a vision, but the vision kind of evolved as we were developing it. And our core was that we wanted to tell the story of the art, the history, the culture of the coast, and everything from the concept, the design, to the experience that people had when they were there. And so I think we were able to pull that off. And I feel that was why it was, has become a popular place. So we have the wood that was from the original building in every single room. That was a passion project of getting it back and having to clean it and plane it and sand it and make these accent walls that really are really special. And we tied in the Walter Anderson family that we talked about earlier. They were awesome to work with and let us name the suites after his prints. And they're incorporated throughout the hotel. We've got an Oyster Wall to bring in the culture of Ocean Springs. We have the Wilbur, the cocktail bar that is actually it was the Motel Wilbur way back when. So we pulled that in with the name of the cocktail bar. So it was a great project. I'm so happy to be a part of it. We manage it. So I'm there every day, and I'm happy with the way it turned out, and thankful people have enjoyed it as well.
Well, it is, like I said, it's a special place. It's a terrific place to have sort of I've been to a couple of little, I don't know, parties or whatever you want to call them for various people, and in the fall and spring, what a great place to do sort of outdoor entertaining. And you're right about the rooms. They're such unique architecture, and the work that you guys did to bring that natural original wood into the rooms, man, just a special. And the Oyster Wall, you kind of busted right past that, but for people who have not seen that, to explain what the Oyster Wall is.
So the building is pretty much two buildings that we married together. So the original 1894 building, and then there had been a structure along the way that was built on the left side. And so they were married together by just a block wall. And we started brainstorming on how are we going to, create this space. And the Oyster Wall was Joe and Jessica's idea, and it was really a great idea. And we were able to the process is ultimately you take mortar and you put in the back of the oyster and you stick it on the wall. And so very forgiving process. It's a tedious process. We all did it, and we ended up at the end of it even getting the community to come out and letting the kids and everybody during like that last week before we opened, help participate in those last few oysters to put on the wall so we could, get everybody involved, because it was right when the oyster season was coming back, and it has a lot to do with Ocean Springs and our culture on the coast. So it was really fun, and I think it turned out beautifully, and it's right in the center of the building. If you're sitting at the Wilbur, you get to sit right in front of it. We see people taking pictures in front of it, tons of wedding photos in front of the Oyster Wall. So it's been really nice to see people appreciate it like we did.
So this is Roxy Condrey, her husband Ted, and she started a real estate company, ended up opening the Inn 10 years ago, and with partners opened up the hotel, boutique hotel that we were just talking about, just a super special place, the Roost. When we come back, though, I want to talk about the Beatnik. What a cool concept. You're going to want to hear, if you don't know about the Beatnik, you're going to want to hear more about it. We'll be back after this break.
Thank you.
SuperTalk. Nobody keeps Mississippi informed like we do. With 12 stations covering all 82 counties. If it happens in your state, we're on top of it. The news, the weather, the sports, and the talk that's important to you. The issues that matter to you, your family, and your bank account. It's all right here. And when you're away from home, depend on the SuperTalk app and supertalk.fm to stay in the know. We're proud to serve our fellow Mississippians. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. Norbert, Elvis.
And I want to tell you about Presley. He had two different voices. He would sit and talk to me in a very calm, low voice. And we were at Stack's one night, and we were having lunch. We always had lunch at midnight because he was nocturnal. We sat there and we have our sandwiches, and at 1 o'clock, he looked up. He said, "Hey, Put, come on, it's time for me to go beat Elvis." And he stood up, in a much deeper voice, he put on his macho voice. "Hey, fellas, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get cracking, okay?"
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, Amazon Alexa, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Everyone knows the only thing better than pizza is free pizza, and right now, buy a $10 gift certificate to CiCi's Pizza for only $5. It's like buying a pizza and getting a pizza for free. Go to our station's website or Facebook. Look for the Half Off Deals logo to purchase this amazing deal right now.
We give HPV vaccine to children at 11 or 12 years of age. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and I've given the vaccine to all of them.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90, Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Roxy Condry with us today. I just love celebrating people like you, Roxy, and your husband, Ted. The work that you've done in coastal Mississippi is so important. And we just talked about the Inn and the Roost and your development company and, you know, your real estate company. But I really want to now focus on the Beatnik. What a cool concept. Tell us about that.
Thank you. Well, the Beatnik is our brand new hotel. Actually, this weekend will be our first weekend to be open. And it's right down the street from the Roost. It's on Porter. And this area is really starting to be coined as the creative district of Ocean Springs. And in coming up with the concept, we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but we really like to tell a story with our properties to provide, a really in-depth experience. And the property that we purchased, the house on it was actually condemned, and unfortunately there was no way we could save it. So we had to take the house down. And being on Porter, we really, it gave us an opportunity to dive into the history of the street and learn a lot more there. And we ended up finding out that Porter was really the main thoroughway. It was the main street through town, through Ocean Springs, and it was dotted with little motels and hotels, and it was like our travel corridor back in the day before interstates and things like that. And so we started kind of going down that road and learning about that history, and it started all kind of coming together that we wanted to pay homage to that past. And so the Beatnik, we became inspired by the Beatnik culture, and we started kind of putting it together and wanted to tell that story of what Ocean Springs used to be, but in a modern way. And so that is where it was born. So we have 4 modern cabins that were designed to appear that they are floating. And it kind of gives you a feeling of elevation, which, kind of feels good. And we wanted to really embrace nature. We wanted to have a lot of amenities that would allow people to get outside. we're hopeful that when they stay at the Beatnik that they'll kind of disconnect and start relaxing and maybe set their cell phone down for a minute, not turn on the TV as much, and experience nature. And so we've got a plunge pool, we have a meditation garden, we have all of the suites. They have indoor showers, but we also have really lush outdoor showers that are private for each suite. We have a fire pit in the front of the property, and it's located right there on Porter that is not but a block from the beach. And so, really great. If you want to bike, you can jump on our bike routes. We're working with some guys that do deep sea fishing charters out to the out to the islands. So a lot of opportunity there to hopefully appeal to the adventure seekers and, those people that are looking to enjoy the ecotourism elements that the coast has to offer.
I've seen pictures, and I should have shown some pictures on the show, at least for the Facebook and YouTube audience. But I love the name, the Beatnik. What a cool name. It just says something unique, Hey, listen, we're coming to the end of our time together. Real quick, how is the hotel business in the pandemic environment? How are the bookings looking for the Beatnik? Sure. And then how's your rental side doing?
So, in March when everything kind of happened and started with COVID, it was bad. All of our reservations cleared. We had a pretty much, it was scary for a minute there. And we actually did pause with the Beatnik because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And so we collected ourselves a month after that. We said, we got to continue construction. And fortunately, in May, things picked up. And I feel like I can contribute that to primarily the way our properties are structured. Every single one of our properties are set up where we can very easily accomplish 100% self-check-in. And we were just able to pivot to small things. We got our housekeepers in training on additional cleaning measures that needed to be taken. Everyone's wearing masks. We went ahead and started, looking in, like we've got the 100% check-in we were already doing, but giving more options on not having to come to front desk to check in, which was really easy for us to accomplish. So people can do that if they want, cutting out the refreshes if they want, so we can just do extra towels and things so no one's coming into the rooms during their stay. So that has changed, but something that it was easy for us to do, and I feel like makes people feel safe staying at our properties. So we've been booking. We've been able to really get that regional traveler to keep coming in, and it's been very, very good for us. So I'm hopeful that'll continue.
How's the rental side doing, your residential rental side?
The rental side, again, a little nerve-wracking in the beginning, not sure how that would shake out. We've had, with the government coming in and doing some aid, it has helped people to be able to pay rent. But we have had to work with a lot of people. We do manage a large amount of properties, scattered site, from like houses to apartment complexes to like Joe's Cottages, you mentioned Joe earlier. And we've just worked with people and tried to figure out ways to make it through this time, because it's difficult for a lot of people. They've lost their jobs. Unemployment benefits are starting to change now. So it's something that we've just had to do on a case-by-case basis and do the best that we can making it through. So, and we're managing pretty well. I have to say it's been better than I ever expected. I thought that it would be I really did think it was going to be worse. And so far, knock on wood, we've been able to set up plans for anyone that had needed it in the rental side, and we're working through each one on a case-by-case basis pretty successfully.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear that, because as I said during the show, it's so important to our community that you guys do well, because we want you to have incredible success with the Beatnik, just like you've had with the Roost in the end, so that you'll do another one. And then who knows what your associations with people in Ocean Springs, people like Julian and Joe and others, who knows what's next? I mean, I just say, just foster your creativity and let you guys continue to think of new stuff to do, so you can continue to create an even better, more valued sense of place in Ocean Springs and around the coast that's going to really make a difference. So God bless you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to come share your story with me, and good luck to you.
I can't thank you enough. Thank you for spreading the word and letting us, talk about the properties. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.